I've dedicated myself to cataloging and rating every mystery box story. The mystery box story is a recent genre of fiction, and this is its basic definition. For a more in-depth explanation, check the title card. I've also outlined 10 criteria that I use to judge whether a particular mystery box story is an effective one. This episode, I'm covering the mystery box for kids, Gravity Falls. Man, I'm excited for this video. I'm just gonna say this right up at the top. Gravity Falls is the best mystery box story out there right now. If you like the other TV shows I've covered in this series but felt they were lacking in some ways, you'll love Gravity Falls. The aim of this video is to deconstruct why and how it was so successful, not just as a TV show, but as a mystery box. Gravity Falls is a Disney Channel cartoon created by Alex Hirsch and premiered in 2012. It's about a pair of twins, Dipper and Mabel Pines, who are sent to stay with their great uncle Stanford in Gravity Falls, Oregon for the summer. Though Gravity Falls is a place full of weird, supernatural things. Right away, the Twin Peaks influence is obvious. It has the same aesthetic of a small town in northwestern America, and it also has the same setup of a strange, otherworldly town with outsiders coming to investigate. As I've said before, Twin Peaks influenced almost every mystery box TV show in existence, so you could do a lot worse in terms of inspiration. Right from the first episode, we have not just one, but several opening mysteries to hook the audience. On the surface, it seems like Gravity Falls' reputation for the strange and the unexplained is all made up. Stan runs the Mystery Shack, which displays fake exhibits to gullible tourists. But Dipper and Mabel quickly discover that there's more going on in the town. While walking in the woods, Dipper stumbles on a strange journal with a number 3 on it, which contains the research of some mysterious explorer cataloging all the weirdness in the town. Dipper then uses that journal to determine that Mabel's new boyfriend is a bunch of gnomes in a hoodie. That journal is what drives most of the plot for the first half of the show. What is all this weirdness? Why does the hand on the cover have 6 fingers? Where are journals 1 and 2? And most importantly, who wrote the journal? But that's not all. Stan seems like he doesn't believe in any of Gravity Falls' weirdness, but that's pretty clearly an act. The final scene of the pilot shows him sneaking down a secret passage in the Mystery Shack for reasons unknown. And, at the end of every intro theme, there's a single frame that depicts a strange triangle symbol, a symbol that appears in various other places across the show. These are the tentpole questions that drive the show. They might seem separate at first, but they weave together as the show goes on. We get more bits and pieces about all this as the show continues. The 4th episode introduces the recurring villain Gideon, who owns a competitor to the Mystery Shack and has a crush on Mabel. At the end of the episode, it's revealed that he has journal number 2. Besides the big mysteries, the show is full of little background things for anyone who's paying extra close attention. Some of them are fun Easter eggs, and some of them are genuine hints about the central mysteries. Like all the odd little background items in the first few episodes that get an explanation in the time travel episode. And Stan's tattoo. And the secret room in the Mystery Shack that has a calendar from 1982. And the scene for the time travel episode where the twins run by young Stan, but he looks different. And the 6-figured glove that Stan puts on in the season 2 opener. And all the little secret codes hidden in the credits. For most of the first season, these mysteries pretty much hang in the background. Until the season 1 finale, where they all come back in at once. Gideon tries to steal the deed to the Mystery Shack by summoning a creature called Bill Cipher, who is that triangle guy from the intro. The gang defeats him for the time being, but it's clear that we haven't seen the last of him. But Gideon still takes over the Mystery Shack. Before now, the assumption was that Gideon wanted the Mystery Shack so he could wipe out a business rival. But in this episode, we learn that he's actually on the hunt for journal number 1, which he believes is hidden on the Mystery Shack property. Apparently, if you unite all the journals, it releases some kind of unimaginable power. Gideon manages to take journal 3 from the kids, which he didn't know existed before then, but then they defeat Gideon and get journals 2 and 3. They show them to Stan, who takes them down to his secret room where we see that he has journal number 1.
After all these years, finally, we have them all.
Season 2 is where things really kick into high gear. The season opener has Stan finally admit that he knows about the supernatural stuff going on, and Dipper discovers a whole second layer of journal secrets written in invisible ink. The episode after that has the kids discovering the journal author's secret bunker, and they uncover an old laptop that says property of F. When Dipper can't figure out the laptop's password, he turns to Bill Cipher for help. Bill's situation is basically a deal with the devil thing. He offers you an amazing trade, but if you agree to it, it comes back to bite you. Anyway, thanks to Bill, Dipper gets himself possessed and the laptop gets destroyed. But Dipper and Mabel manage to defeat Bill a second time, for now. Later, Dipper thinks he's figured out who wrote the journals. Old Man McGucket, the crazy old man who's always running around town. But it turns out he was just the author's assistant. That's pretty much how the first half of Season 2 works. Dipper finds lead after lead that goes nowhere. until later where the mysteries finally start to unravel. Gravity Falls definitely has its fair share of mysteries, but it's comparatively less than most other mystery box stories. That's mostly because the show is pretty darn short. It's just 2 seasons, 40 episodes. And the pacing of the mysteries is somewhat inconsistent. In Season 1 especially, the episodes are almost entirely filler. I shouldn't say filler, that's too negative. This is just kind of how modern cartoons work. Season 1 is mostly episodic, and then future seasons get to be more serialized. But yeah, the mysteries in Gravity Falls are way more relevant in Season 2 than in Season 1. There's no problem with making sure these mysteries are diegetic. Everything is clearly a part of the story's world with an in-universe answer, except for those end credits ciphers. Trope time, and Gravity Falls has all the usual ones. There are 2 episodes that feature time travel, and there are a handful of flashbacks. The person who knows all the answers but won't explain anything is Stan. There are so many scenes of him sneaking around and talking about his plans really vaguely. A scene where somebody is about to spill the beans about a big secret, but they get interrupted.
If only people knew the truth, that hidden behind this vending machine, I secretly have
Boring.
There are not 1, but 2 conspiracy boards. Dipper's got one, and so do the government agents tailing Stan. And there's a secret organization behind the scenes, the Society of the Blind Eye, who erases the memories of anyone who sees anything supernatural. But they're only in 1 episode. By the way, it was founded by Old Man McGucket, who himself has had his mind erased too many times. Halfway through Season 2, Stan's portal machine thing is finally ready for whatever thing it was built to do. But that same day, government agents arrest Stan, accusing him of building some kind of doomsday device. This sends Dipper and Mabel on a quest to figure out what Stan's really been up to all this time. They assume he's innocent at first, but as they investigate, they find more and more evidence that he's been lying to them all this time. His portal machine starts making things go crazy all over town, they find security footage of him stealing toxic waste, and they find a newspaper clipping that says Stan Pines died in a car crash. All evidence points to the fact that the man they've been living with is not Stanford Pines. Dipper and Mabel discover Stan's bunker in his machine, which is counting down to something. They try to shut it down, but Stan catches up with them and convinces them, just barely, to let the countdown finish. And out from the portal comes, well...
Who is that? The author of the journals. My brother.
Yeah, so we flash back to the childhood of the 2 twin Stans, Stanley and Stanford. Stanford is a super genius, with 6 fingers, while Stanley is a more rough-around-the-edges con artist. They were really close once, but they had a big fight and drifted apart. Stanford found himself drawn to researching the paranormal, and he traveled to Gravity Falls. Stanford, or Ford as he usually goes by, found that the source of Gravity Falls' weirdness comes from another dimension bleeding into this one. Bill's cipher tricked him into building the portal machine, which would have eventually let Bill cross over from his dimension. When Ford realized what was really going on, he called Stanley to help him destroy it. But they ended up fighting, and they accidentally turned the portal on and Ford got sucked through. Ever since then, Stanley has been trying to find all 3 journals to figure out how to operate the portal again to get Ford back. He faked his own death and opened the Mystery Shack pretending to be Stanford. This is the biggest lore drop in the show. After this, the only major mystery left is whatever Bill's cipher is planning. Soon, we learned from Ford that Bill's goal was to use the portal to invade from his universe and basically cause the end of the world. When Stan used it to bring Ford back, it caused a tear between dimensions, which Ford contained in this snow globe thing. But Bill tricks Mabel into breaking it and starting Weird Mageddon.
It's the end of the world.
By the finale of the show, there aren't any real mysteries to dig into. It's more about wrapping up the story with a big finish and concluding every character arc. Bill takes over Gravity Falls, but the town has trapped him, preventing him from spreading his rule to the rest of the world. He tries to invade Ford's mind for a solution, but the good guys trick him into going into Stanley's mind instead, and then they erase him from existence. The most important mysteries are wrapped up by the end of the show, but there are a few lingering questions for viewers to wonder about after the show ends. For example, the root cause of Gravity Falls' weirdness. There's the UFO that Dipper and Ford explored, which may have been the cause, but we never got any confirmation. And Bill might appear to be permanently defeated, but there are some hints that he might be back.
What's happening to me?
And yes, every mystery was definitely set up in advance. That's what sets this show apart. It's incredibly faithful to continuity. There are so many nods to future events scattered throughout every episode. The more you look closely at the show, the clearer it is that Alex Hirsch and the other writers thought everything through from very early on. So we've established that the mysteries themselves are pretty great. But does the show make sure to integrate it into each of the character arcs? Yes, 100% yes. I never got to talk about this in any of my previous videos, but a big pet peeve of mine that I have with mystery box stories is that the characters in them tend to be ridiculously uncurious. In so many of these, we could learn so many answers if the protagonist would just ask some questions once in a while. But they never seem to care about these mysteries as much as the audience does. I get why the writers do this. It makes the pacing of the mysteries easier, but it's still annoying. Gravity Falls doesn't have this problem. Dipper is a self-identified mystery solver. He's constantly investigating the weirdness of the town, and he asks the same questions the audience is asking. He makes for a great audience avatar. His breakthroughs are our breakthroughs.
I began to keep a journal.
The journals! Sorry, just got excited there.
And Stan, wow. He comes off like pure comic relief in the early episodes, but as the mysteries unravel, we found out that there's so much more to him as a character. Man, those plot-heavy episodes where he gets serious are some of the best emotional moments in the whole show.
You're gonna hear some bad things about me, and some of them are true. But trust me, everything I've worked for, everything I care about, it's all for this family.
Mabel isn't as directly connected to the mysteries as the other characters, but she goes through a lot of character growth too.
Uncle Stan? 6, 5. I trust you.
And Dipper and Mabel have one of the most authentic sibling relationships I've ever seen on TV that doesn't rely on constant arguing.
Awkward sibling hug?
Awkward sibling hug. Pat, pat.
The mystery elements are directly responsible for pushing what could have been flat cartoon characters into deeper emotional complexity. This is the ideal situation in a mystery box story. Before I go, here are some of my favorite moments from the show. The episode where Dipper makes clones of himself. This is a stock episode that's been in 100 shows and it always goes exactly the same. The clones turn against each other. But this episode does some genuinely surprising things with it.
Hey, we're not gonna get jealous and turn on each other like the clones in the movies, are we? Dipper, please. This is you you're talking about. Plus, hey, you can always just disintegrate me with water. Yeah.
The Lammy Dance.
Well, who wants a lammy, lammy, lammy? I do. So go up and greet your mammy, mammy, mammy. Hi there.
The redemption of Pacifica Northwest. She could have been a one-note shallow rich girl character, but the show really put in the work to make her sympathetic.
Hey, guess what we're standing on?
Take that.
She's a pretty minor character, but every line Candy says is pure gold.
We are criminals. We will cut you.
And of course, all the memes.
My ex-wife still misses me, but her aim is getting better. Oh, this is beautiful.
Whoa. This is worthless.
Are either of you good at jumping up and down and making annoying noises?
My time has come.
Road safety laws prepare to be ignored.
It's funny how dumb you are.
I am the god of destruction!
Look, I've been around the world, okay? Whatever it is, I'll understand. There is nothing about this I understand.
For me, a big motivation for making this series is cataloging what works and what doesn't about these kinds of stories. Because it seems like so many of them mess it up. But this is one show that just gets it. It understands the appeal of a storyline that its audience can pick apart and think critically about. It's held back a bit by its length and the genre conventions of a kid's cartoon, which forced the mystery to be smaller in scale. But as of right now, this is the gold standard for mystery box storytelling. Gravity Falls gets a final mystery box rating of 8 out of 10.
Hey, at least I'm not all keyed up to watch a kid's show.
I'll have you know that Ducktective has a big mystery element and a lot of humor that goes over kids' heads.